George Washington was the first president ever and established many key parts to being a president. He also established the cabinet. John Adams was the first president to live in the White House and the president who made the Navy. Thomas Jefferson got the Louisiana Purchase, doubling the size of America. James Madison is credited as the father of the Constitution and was president during the War of 1812. James Monroe made the Monroe Doctrine, which said that Europe couldn't interfere with America, or the North Americas anyway. John Quincy Adams was the son of the second president, owned a pet alligator, and gave us access to Florida. Andrew Jackson did the Indian Removal Act, and he liked to duel, and he was one of the first presidents to survive an assassination attempt. Martin Van Buren stopped Texas from becoming a slave state. William Henry Harrison had the longest inaugurational speech of any president, but the shortest term. He died of pneumonia after only 1 month of being president. John Tyler vetoed a bill that made his entire cabinet resign, and he was eventually kicked out by his own party. James K. Polk finished the annexation of Texas and bought land from Mexico to make California. Zachary Taylor was a commander in the Mexican-American War, but died shortly into his presidency. Millard Fillmore made the Compromise of 1850, which let California be a free state, but Utah be a slave state. Franklin Pierce gave the longest inaugurational address of any president and acquired land from Mexico. James Buchanan supported Kansas becoming a slave state and could do nothing to stop the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln was president during the Civil War and was able to get the Confederate States back to join the Union. He also established the Secret Service and made slavery illegal in America. Andrew Johnson tried to negotiate the purchase of Alaska from Russia and was the first president to be impeached. Ulysses S. Grant was a Civil War veteran who got the last of the Confederate States back into the Union and tried to give black people the right to vote, but his second term was plagued by scandals. Rutherford Hayes oversaw the final stages of Reconstruction in the United States, but also was responsible for the Chinese Exclusion Act. James A. Garfield tried to end corruption in his party, but was assassinated only 200 days into his presidency. Chester Arthur allegedly owned over 80 pairs of pants. What he did as president? I don't have a clue. Grover Cleveland was the only Democratic president ever to have 2 non-consecutive terms, and he also was the president that accepted the Statue of Liberty as a gift from France. Benjamin Harrison was the grandson of William Henry Harrison, the 9th president of the United States. He was also the first president to have electricity installed in the White House. William McKinley was the first president to have his inaugurational address filmed. He was also president during the Spanish-American War when Cuba gained its independence. Sadly, just 6 months into his second term, he was assassinated. Theodore Roosevelt pushed laws to improve America's food quality and opened the first national parks. Theodore Roosevelt also oversaw the construction of the Panama Canal and won the Nobel Peace Prize. William Howard Taft was the only president to have also served on the U.S. Supreme Court, and he was also the first president of the 48 states, not including, of course, Alaska and Hawaii. Woodrow Wilson was a professor at Princeton University, and when he was president, he tried to get black patriots of the Revolutionary War out of history books. Warren Harding tried to build the nation back up after World War I, but his presidency was plagued by many scandals, including the Teapot Dome scandal. Calvin Coolidge believed in minimal government interference and reduced the income tax. Herbert Hoover was president during the Great Depression, and his efforts to stop it did very little. Franklin Roosevelt was the only president to have been elected 4 times. He was also president during World War II and the Great Depression. Harry Truman helped end World War II by dropping bombs on Japan, and he created the CIA. Dwight D. Eisenhower was a general during World War II. He also created NASA and the International Highway System. John F. Kennedy was the youngest president to ever be elected. He fought against segregation in schools and was assassinated just 3 years into his presidency. Lyndon Johnson fought for civil rights movements, but then sent American troops into the Vietnam War, which made his popularity dwindle. Richard Nixon was the first president to visit China, and he ended America's involvement in the Vietnam War. Sadly, during his second term, he faced impeachment and decided to resign after the Watergate scandal. Gerald Ford gave Nixon a full pardon, which made his popularity decrease significantly. He also survived 2 assassination attempts. Jimmy Carter gave the Panama Canal back to Panama and removed limits on oil and gas prices. Jimmy Carter also is the only president to have made it to 100 years old. Rest in peace, Jimmy Carter. Ronald Reagan reduced taxes and ended the Cold War. George H.W. Bush sent U.S. troops into Panama, and the increase in taxes during his presidency cost him a second term. Bill Clinton made peace deals with Northern Ireland and Bosnia, but an affair with his intern kind of tarnished his legacy. George W. Bush was son of the 41st president, George H.W. Bush. He declared war on terror and invaded Iraq. Barack Obama was the first black president. He withdrew the last of the U.S. troops from Iraq and made Obamacare. Donald Trump appointed the first woman director of the CIA, and he increased oil production in America. He's also the only Republican to ever have 2 non-consecutive terms. The inflation rate went up more than it had in the past 30 years while Joe Biden was president. Subscribe for more presidential facts.